Shalom and welcome. This is Minister Robert Lee Williams from Prophetic Information Ministries and God's Miracle Ministry, where we blow the trumpet, the shofar, around the world, informing you with prophetic news and bringing God's Miracle Ministry to the world. Well, today is February the 13th, 2014. I woke up this morning and I felt very uneasy. I knew there was something up in the spirit realm. I almost did a YouTube video on that, but I did not. But I should have had. Now I know what was up in the spirit realm. Well, as most of you know by now, a Supreme Court justice has died. Scalia, I do believe. And it's going to be I heard he was a good man, good Christian man. He was appointed by President Reagan, so it's going to be a loss on the Supreme Court and for this country. But many things are happening right now. You have the global collapse happening all over the world now. All these stock markets are going down the tubes. I just got finished reading an article I saw on YouTube that I'm on Facebook, somebody put out, a radio station put out, I think out of New York, and talking about Syria and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is thinking about invading Syria. I heard they have 250,000 troops on the border, along with, 2,000 tanks and a whole bunch of aircraft. Well, according to this article, because don't forget, Russia is sitting in there, in Syria. So is the Chinese, the Iranians, and of course the Americans are around somewhere. But if this many troops go into Syria, Russia may nuke them. We may have a nuclear war. This will be a World War III. And I definitely don't want that, but it's going to happen. World War III is beginning, or already begun, but it's going to get worse. You got all those Russian troops and the Chinese troops up there. They're not only there for Syria. Yeah, they're going to go against ISIS. But it says in the Bible that they're going to turn on Israel. Ezekiel 38 war, I do believe. So I definitely don't like that, but the Word of God is true and real, and this will happen. And let's go on to today's teaching. And it's called, Where is God? Where is God in all this? I want to read something to you that's going to help you with this. Even though we have a lot of terrible things happening around the world, the rise of the Islamic religion, Muslims, the killing of Christians, and they're being brought to America now. You see what's going on in Europe when they accepted the Muslims in. I knew that was going to be a bad ordeal. Now they're reaping what they sow. Where is God? Well, let's go into today's teaching. Do you feel trapped by the circumstances of life? Do you wonder where God is and why He has not answered your prayers? You are not alone. Gideon asked, "If the Lord is with us, why then has all this happened to us?" Read in Judges 6:13. Elijah cried, "Take my life, for I am no better than my fathers." 1 Kings 19:4. Even Jesus, as he hung on the cross, cried, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Matthew 27:46. When David felt trapped in a snare, the Lord rescued him. If it has not been the Lord who was on our side, then would have swallowed us alive. Psalms 124, verse 1 and 3. David felt that some people were out to devour him and his work. Our soul has escaped as a bird from the snare of the fowl. The snare is broken, and we have escaped. Verse 7. You know, this is quite true. You know, I've wondered where God is in my life sometime, and I know you have too. You know, but you see, my heart is a little heavy right now. You know, where is God? Well, let's continue on with the teaching. When God tests us, God sometimes withdraws His continuous presence from us to see how we will react. Or He tests our faith by asking difficult of us. God tested Abraham in this way as He told him to sacrifice his son Isaac. Abraham would obey God or reconcile that God was asking too much. But Abraham obeyed. He forced his emotional self to obey the conviction of his faith. Abraham knew the best way out of the snare is to be obedient to God. God is going to test us. He's tested me. And some of these tests are not easy. And it's not easy for you either. But we must be obedient to God. You know, obedience. Obedient faith is the escape. Sometimes we feel as though we are in a snare because other people rise up against us. That's in verse 2. Sometimes we feel as though we are in a snare because of the test God gives us. Sometimes we realize we are in the snare because we put ourselves there by falling into temptation. Been there, done that one. How will our faith serve us? Faith reminds us that God is always faithful and true, and He always has an eye on our circumstances. If we must understand God, to obey God, we will never obey God. To obey is what we understand is only to agree with God, to obey even when we do not understand, and obedience by faith. Obedience by faith leads us to understanding the ways of God and the wisdom of God. We are in a snare. Does God seem so far away and silent when we need desperately to hear His voice? Be still and know that I am God. It's in Psalms 46:10. God will never leave you nor forsake you. Look to the hills and see that He is there, waiting, and know that He will preserve you. Our help is in the name of the Lord, who made the heavens and the earth. Psalms 124:8. I will set you free. When you are trapped in a snare, look for Jesus, Yeshua. He will give you the power to endure. Listen for His voice saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Isaiah 30:21. See His nail-pierced hands open the snare to set you free. Glory be to God. But I also want to add this. Understanding God. Just the other day, I think like a couple of days ago, I woke up like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I turned on the TV, and it might have been last night. I was watching Mike Murdoch on television. An awesome man of God with great wisdom, and God uses him mightily. It was talking about understanding God and how we, and it just really touched me. You know, understanding God. You know, I was going to do a research on that because it really affected me. Understanding God's ways. And now I get a confirmation right here, reading this out of my Bible. And being obedience. You know, that touches my heart also. Because if you go back into my archives, I stated about a year ago, something like that I did a covenant with God to be obedient, to giving it all up for Jesus, to give it all up to God. So when God tells me to do something, I have to do it, and when He tells me to do it. But I just wanted to let you know that. I'm going to cut this video short. I'm going to do 2 more teachings today, I do believe. And one is going to be on the glory of God. And then wait on the Lord. I'm going to do wait on the Lord next. And wait on His presence. You know, what is His purpose? Wait on purpose. Wait in prayer. We're going to go to that one next. Wait on the Lord, then we're going to go to glory. This is going to bless you tremendously. I hope this video has blessed you. Please add your comments down below. If you need prayer, just let me know that you need prayer. If you need a specific healing in your life, let me know what that is. And I'll do a special video just for you, for only you can see. I'm here to do God's will, to be obedient. So, until next time, this is Minister Robert Lee Williams from Prophetic Information Ministries and God's Miracle Ministry. God bless. See you on the next video.